Cars in the automotive scene that just don't get as much love as they deserve. Whether you're talking about the classic Mazda Miata being criticized for its lack of angriness, or the S2000, which has seemed to disappear from the vocabulary of many enthusiasts out there today. But there are other cars from across the lovely Pacific that don't get the love they deserve anymore. Even though they used to. They were in the Fast and Furious. They were in the other cool movies. Remember when you cried when Woody wasn't played with anymore in Toy Story? It's pretty much the same scenario, and I've never seen Toy Story in my life.
Pardon?
But there is a car out there right now that deserves to be in the sun and get a little bit of a tan. It's a car that since its conception has always been a solid pick by enthusiasts that wanted something that was like sharp and comfortable. A car that could do a little bit of everything, but could still make your parents proud of you. I'm Alex, Alex.fi on Instagram, and today's episode of So You Won't, we are talking about the one, the only Lexus IS300. If you haven't subscribed yet or liked the video, be sure to do so, because you know what? We seek a little self-validation through that number, just like everyone else. Or don't. But if you don't do that and you're looking for aftermarket wheels, tires, or suspension, be sure to check out fitmentindustries.com, where we have it all. Whether you're looking for parts for your newly acquired Lexus IS or Subaru, because unfortunately, winter is coming. Back in 1999, Lexus was a powerhouse. Introduction of vehicles like the RX-300 and the LX-470 SUV, they were pretty much being like Uncle Scrooge without the attitude. Monthly sales were surpassing pretty much all luxury competitors, and they had absolutely no plans of slowing down. But instead of making an even bigger SUV, which is a thing, Infiniti does it. They have these massive SUVs. I'm not entirely sure why. They decided to act on like the sport compact segment, like a little kid-sized pool that had seemed to grow throughout the 90s by Mazda, Nissan, and even their own Toyota. But they kind of wanted to attack a little bit of a different market. They wanted to attack the old BMW market, the 328i to be exact. So in 1999, Lexus introduced the IS Altezza, which is Italian for Highness. The Altezza would be rebadged in North America as the IS300 or the JCE-10 in 2000. The engineering work was originally done by Nobuaki Katayami, the man behind the AE86, and I hope I got that right. Trying my best. From its launch to Japan, its eventual introduction into the Europe and US market, the Lexus IS300 was an absolute hit right out of the get-go, mostly because it was coined off of the 328 platform as much as humanly possible. One of its more unique features about the car that most people still love to this day would be the rear light clusters. The clear covered taillights would be initially created for the IS line due to the influence of the aftermarket car scene of prior years. Little Lexus was watching little F&F. It would become so popular on the IS cars that it influenced other manufacturers and even the boys with the other cars from around the world to try the same clear-ish style taillights. Probably the only platform that can actually pull it off anymore these days, but hey, everybody had them in the early 2000s. The cars introduced in the USA would feature the iconic 3.0-liter six-cylinder 2JZ motor, which is what everybody talks about when they own one of these, but it is a little bit weaker. Now, depending on where you live, you can get a manual or automatic transmission. Depending on the year, you got rear-wheel drift, you've got yourself a few other goodies if you're interested in paying the extra coin. But one of the most common misconceptions about picking up the IS300 for a modifiable car is that the motors are identical to the Supra. I don't mean to do this to you, but they're not. They're close, but they're not. They feature weaker rods, some different inner parts, and aren't as bulletproof as their Mark IV grandfather. But you can modify all of that because it's still the same block. And if you really want to spend all the money on your IS300, you can certainly do that and still brag about the fact that it's got a 2JZ motor and have 1,000,000 horsepower. Lexus would introduce a Sport Cross version eventually, which was all sorts of awesome and confusing at the same time. It had a little split fold-down seat so you could fit awkward things inside. It's kind of interesting body style, but overall it was just like that. Just neat.
How neat is that?
That's pretty
neat. The additional generations will kick the 3-liter out the door and replace it with a 2.5-liter for the IS250 or a 3.5-liter for the IS350, which would make that hopefully make sense, which is not an IS300, which is therefore why we are not talking about it. The IS300's initial release did fantastic, but the following years never really hit as hard. It was competing against some of the big dogs of Mercedes and BMW, which has been Lexus's thing for a long time, pretty much making a luxury version of the cars without the luxury price, both of which really had a stranglehold in the US market. And although Lexus had a reputation for quality, it wasn't one that could really steer new car owners away from their beloved German cars. But no more history, because we're done with that. Now, we're talking about what if one of us wants one. I mean, right? So you want a Lexus IS300. Well, put down your basketball gauges and grab your $5 buck box, because we're about to talk about it, son. It's gonna be a great time, and I hope you're ready. The Lexus IS300 is a car that has reached a point where they are relatively inexpensive to pick up and aren't terrible to look at. Their front ends have little angry like whoosh headlights that go up the fender, and the rear ends still have the sporty cutoff that work fantastic with like a duckbill lip. They have everything you need to make them angry and fun. With a little over 200 horsepower and foot-pounds of torque, it's fun to drive as well right out of the get-go. It's not gonna be inherently, Speedy Gonzales, but it's gonna get the job done. It has a small size, which is damn near identical to the 328i. Well, most of the car is actually going to be pretty identical to the 328i. The car feels like a sports car because of its handling and the fact that the power curve never really tries to break your nose, which is nice. On the other end of the fence, it's notorious for burning oil and snapping timing belts. A pro tip: open up the old hood if you're looking to buy one and see if there's a little sticker, probably yellow, that's going to tell you when the timing belt was changed last, so you can skeet safely in your neighborhood parking lot. From a used ownership point of view, these cars can be like, it's all about which ones you buy, because if the cars weren't taken care of when they were, in the parents' garage back in 2000, they won't last. If they weren't taken to the dealership, they won't last. Plastics peel, dashes fade, headlights turn yellow. The car has reached an age where cosmetic maintenance is required if you want to keep the car looking like it should. But when you do, it's so freaking sweet. It looks so good. For modifications, everyone starts with the simple stuff. Wheels end up going up to the ESR lineup or works. Not much really seems to be in the middle for the IS300. You got your single 6-spokes or your double 5s look best on these cars with some decent all-season tires, because most people actually end up driving these bad boys all year around. Yokohama Advans and Falcons are where you're gonna see most people trust their rubber. Megan, why do I do this to myself? Megan or Megan, whichever one you're feeling, Varrock or Varrock, whatever. You're gonna see those a lot on the coilovers. Otherwise, actually, Tane has gotten extremely popular on them too. But if you're looking to swing the car sideways and spruce up its life from the baby little 200 horsepower, you definitely can, because it's still a 2JZ block. All right? 2JZ, you can modify these engines. You just have to be comfortable with blowing a ton of money that you will never, ever get back. IS300s don't have the best of times with resale value on modifications, because most people that own them simply daily drive them with some wheels, coilovers, intake, exhaust, and nothing else. Bing, bang, boom. And those that choose to go all in usually end up driving them until they blow up. But it does have the sugar, spice, and everything nice to turn it into just about whatever you would want it to be. It's just not as popular as a car as it once was, and you have to be comfortable with that if you're looking to pick one up. So you want an IS300. It's a great used car right now. It looks good, it behaves well, it competes against the 328 of its time pretty well, and it has 4 doors. You can brag about it having the Supra engine and this fun in the back roads. You can have people in the back of the car, because guess what? You like to be practical with 2 extra doors. The car does have to be taken care of or it will fall apart. There's no exceptions to that. And you'll see more people daily driving these than going crazy with them, because that is what they're properly good at, being a good, clean daily. What do you think about IS300s, and what car should we cover next? Don't forget to let us know below. And of course, if you're looking for aftermarket wheels, tires, or suspension, hit up your boys at fitmentindustries.com. It'd mean a lot. Might even drop a heart on a comment. And we're also going to SEMA this year in a couple weeks, so let us know who we should talk to, bug, prod, bother, kick, trip, or run at. and we'll probably go do that. Either way, I'm Alex from Fitment Industries, and we will see you later. Peace.